in my boat.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
Holy moly, Jim Bob Boley. Was it a weekend of sports? Not just in Sacramento, a history-setting weekend here in Sacramento. A precedent-setting weekend here in Sacramento. So long, Royal Al. Goodbye. You are not needed here. You are on your way to Kansas City. Good job, Kings fans. I say it again. Great job letting your opinions be heard and getting that shipped out of here. Now my buddy who lives in Kansas City has to deal with that thing. Don't be surprised if that thing shows up at your local Spirit Halloween stores as a costume. In fact, it might be the #1 selling costume in Sacramento next year. What an awful idea by the Kings, and they tabled it. Thank the Lord. Oh my gosh. Where to start? First off, I want to get you all involved here. It is a busy day of content starting right now. Kings Court, happy to be with you. Could not wait for this broadcast to start. You've got Kings basketball tonight. Kings and the Hawks. Very undermanned Kings team. No DeRozan. Well, DeRozan, he is out. I've heard DeRozan's out for this one. Sabonis, game time decision. I'm hearing he's going to be out too. So we're going to see much of what we saw on Saturday night against the Utah Jazz. And De'Aaron freaking Fox, what are we going to say about this dude? The bender that Foxy has been on over the past week, it hasn't even been the 60-point performance. It hasn't been just the 49-point performance. It's the way he has been playing basketball. I talked about it. Him and Luke Laux. Luke and Foxy really close. Those that don't know, Foxy works out with Luke. He is his player development personal coach on the coaching staff, and they sat down. They did a film session together, and Luke pointed out the differences of when he gets to the paint and when he blows by his guy, and we have seen the fruit of that work. It is clicking right there, clicking for Foxy. We're going to talk about that. Keegan Murray. Okay. On the post-game show on Saturday night, this whole Keegan thing, we're going to go into depth a little bit more on this. I am tired. And I know you guys are going to say, Rhino, you're protecting Keegan. You're a homer, man. No, I'm not a homer for Keegan. But can y'all take a step back? Do you realize the ball going through the basket is one part of basketball? Do you know what the Kings' defensive rating would be without Keegan Murray? And it's kind of stupid that Fox and these other guys have to ask or answer questions about Keegan. They're all looking like, dude's playing so good. Like, are you not looking at the big picture? If you're worried about his three ball, if you're worried about his offense, don't be. It's going to come around. And anyways, I'm not going to get into my take there. Hey, how about also the Tyson Paul fight? I'm not going to spend too much time on the fight. I know a lot of you watched it, but I do have a couple of thoughts. I'm going to save those for later in the show. And we are debuting a new segment. We are going to set up the new segment. It's going to be on Fridays going forward, but I have a feeling everybody's really going to enjoy this one. It revolves around the NFL, and my guess is nobody is going to see saw this one coming. It is really good, really funny, and surprising. It was shocking to me what happened and how this came about. We'll get into that as well. So a lot going on. How are all of you? We haven't even talked any NFL. Seahawks beat the Niners. Where does that leave the 49ers? Look, are you surprised the Seahawks beat the Niners? I'm not. I'm a Seahawks fan. That is a split every single year. Those two teams know each other so well. Rarely are you going to see a sweep of that series. So they split again, 1-1 on the season. So much other things happening in the NFL. How about Danny Dimes? No more Danny Dimes. He is getting benched in New York. The Danny Dimes era is over in New York. And this is not one of those things to me where, Danny's going to come back. It's not Eli Manning where you bench Eli and then Eli has to. No, Danny is done in New York. This is a wrap for him. So we get it all started. Happy to have you all here. By the way, I said we have so much content today. This is the first of 5 shows on the platform. Later, actually, in just a couple hours, Napes will be here. Open forum. He's going to want to talk about the NFL, I'm sure. He's going to talk Kings. I didn't even mention the Stockton Kings. I've got a lot of thoughts on them as well. Your calls too. We have not been getting a lot of calls lately. Come on, call the show. Want to hear from you. Brian, I am wrong. I was sorry, Brian. I am still sorry for not wanting to take your call on the post-game show. You killed it, dude. You brought up a good point. Open forum, 4 p.m. with Grant. Looking forward to that. And we've got all the other game day coverage for the Kings and the Hawks tonight, beginning with the pregame show, 6:15. So, by the way, don't forget, we're brought to you by Bennett's. Did you get there this weekend? Did you make it out for brunch? Did you get some prime rib? Let me know in the chat. We'll talk more about them later. You can go to Bennett's Restaurants.com. Learn more about all 3 of their restaurants in the greater Sacramento area. Chat, I'm going to get with you in just 1 second, but first we are going to the phones. We got to take the halftime show graphic down, but Jerry will be here at halftime. Let's kick it to the phones. My man, Corn Dog. Hey, Corn Dog, you've got an imposter, dude. Did you know that?
Oh, I bet.
Oh, I bet. Listen to you. Yeah, I'm freaking Corn Dog. Of course I have imposters. What's up, dude? How are you doing? Happy Monday.
Oh, man. Lot to talk about, but I'm not a 49er fan, but I'm looking at this and I'm not seeing them making the playoffs unless they win the division.
And the division's getting better, and they're standing pat / getting a little worse.
Yeah, I don't see a wild card spot available with the Vikings, Packers, Commanders / Eagles, Lions just looking like fantastic teams this year.
Yeah, how about the Lions? 52? They put up 52? Come on. And then last night, Sunday Night Football, different conference, but what about the Chargers and the Bengals? That ended up being a damn good game.
Well, Harbaugh's the guy, man. I mean, he's won everywhere he went. I don't know why people are shocked about this. I mean, Stanford, 49ers, Michigan, now Chargers.
Now Chargers, yep.
There is no reason to doubt what the Harbaughs can do when it comes to football and game planning and game managing. Like, they're fantastic. Jim and John, they're always going to be really good. They're going to be tough to beat. They both play great stout defenses with great run games, and you win a lot of football games that way.
I agree with you, man. Give me your minute thoughts on, or give us a rundown really quick so I don't have to do it. What do we need to know about college football this last weekend?
Well, the SEC is crazy this year. There is no elite team, and they're all with like 2 losses. And there's one more, the end of the year game with Texas going at Texas A&M. If A&M wins that, there will be 6 teams with 2 losses, and that is the final point for the chaos scenario and those tiebreakers. That would be insane.
It would. Do you think Boise having a close game hurts them against San Jose State?
Boise just actually got the biggest favor ever because of BYU's blunder.
Yeah, BYU, man. They were
The
clicking.
Big 12 might be the one that's not getting the bye, and Boise, because it's the 4 highest conference champions that get the bye, and BYU, when what it's looking at, the Big 12 champ will be below Boise State, and that means Boise State gets the 4 seed, and the Big 12 champ might be at that 12 spot.
Who knocked off BYU again?
They lost to Kansas. Kansas was a
Kansas,
preseason
right.
favorite for a lot of people for the Big 12. They just lost a lot of close games, but they have a chance to make some turmoil happen because they're fighting for bowl eligibility, and they have a Colorado this week too. They might be able to knock Colorado off this week. They might be able to knock off 2 teams back to back to back. And you know what? That's a great way to say, you know what? We didn't start the season we wanted to, but we knocked off some dogs.
Yeah, and remember UNLV knocked off Kansas earlier this season too, so it speaks a little bit to the Mountain West.
The
How
Sun
about that?
Devils, the Sun Devils have been clicking.
Dude, that is man, that program is so up and down. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. But ASU, what a beautiful place to go to school.
They got a pretty much a playoff matchup versus BYU at home this week. That's pretty much implications on who's going to the Big 12 title or not. We got another big one. Obviously, the big noon kickoff for Fox is Indiana Hoosiers at Ohio State. That is another top 5 matchup that we've had this year. Crazy that Ohio State's already played 3 top 5 matchups.
I know.
And if Michigan was good this year, they probably would end up with 4. That's crazy how daunting their schedule is.
Hey, look, the bottom line is the 12-team playoff makes college football so much more interesting because you quit paying attention. Usually, unless it was a big school, you'd quit paying attention to any team with a loss. Like the season's over. All right, what's the next interesting matchup, right?
Yeah, I mean, Arizona State, BYU now became a marquee matchup for this.
Yep.
Those schools are never in that conversation. Another marquee matchup is actually the Army Notre Dame game.
Yeah,
that is a huge one because Notre Dame can't lose that one, and Army would love to win that one.
Yep, I agree with you. John says Buffaloes. Yeah, CU, they have been a big surprise this year. Travis Hunter, I'm not sold. He's the favorite, but I'm not sold that Genty can't get that away from him.
I'm not sold on it too, but you know what? I'm happy if it goes either way. I will not be upset. I won't be 100%. Upset either way.
Great point.
Yeah, that it's fine. We have 2 very deserving candidates. I'm glad they're not quarterbacks. I'm sick of quarterbacks always winning MVPs or Heisman awards. It was great. Devontae Smith won one. It's been a while since a running back won one. I believe Derrick Henry was the last. And honestly, a wide receiver obviously would be Devontae Smith and Travis Hunter, or cornerback if you want to go all the way back to Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson, yeah. Crazy times. Dude, who you got tonight? You think the Kings are going to pull through?
Kings will pull through if Fox pulls out another almost 50-point game or in that ballpark. And honestly, he has the ability to against this Hawks team. They're not very defensive heavy with Trae Young, so I think he could end up in a shootout there.
All I know is they better adjust that defense. If I see that same defensive game plan, I'm gonna lose my marbles.
Yeah, it's rough. I'm glad Fox can still put buckets up. He's playing for that contract. So far, A+ from him. But there's a lot of question marks around this bench without Monk. There's huge question marks. Keegan Murray has been great as our wing defender. DeRozan, he was healthy a lot in Chicago, but are we getting that Toronto DeRozan that gets that injury bug? He is older now, so we got to wait and see on that. But
dude, he started the season. Started the season with 7 or 8 straight games with 20 or more. We're getting a pretty damn good version of DeRozan.
Yeah, but availability now is coming to a question.
It's 2 games. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, you don't like the fact that it's a back. I am actually more concerned about Sabonis than DeRozan. Sabonis doesn't miss games, like traditionally. Avulsion fracture, misses
Yeah.
1 game. So if he misses a second because of a back, he is going to be out, I believe, for the back. So, or Jamar's out, excuse me. So, anyways, dude, thanks for the call. I'm sure we'll be seeing from people are commenting, by the way, before I let you go, about your controller, whatever you want to call it, tower there.
Oh yeah, I love that.
So we were at where were we at? We were at lunch yesterday with my grandma, who is 99, still going strong. And we're talking about game consoles and how, my son has a cell phone now, so he's doing stuff there. And my mom goes, well, you had a Game Boy. And I'm like, well, Nick had a PSP, because that's my brother. We have 11 years between us. And then my dad's like, oh, what was that one system? It was before Nintendo. And I was like, Atari? And he's like, yeah, Atari. I think that's it. He goes, I have a brand new one in the box below my bar. I'm like, dude, you're sitting on like a brand new car right there, if that thing is in box still.
That depends if it's an actual original Atari or is it the new classic like minis that you can plug in.
No, it is an old original Atari.
Oh man, does that sound lovely? That oh
Right?
man, that thing's juicier than a steak to me right now.
Right? So anyways, dude, appreciate you. Thanks for kicking us off.
Yes, sir.
Indeed. Corn Dog kicking us off. Hey, where are you at on your picks really quick before I let you go?
Oh man. I'm not doing so hot.
Okay.
I've kind of I've hit some stumps. I did get 10 points this week. Not so far.
Okay.
Not too bad.
I'm going to start asking everybody that is in the if you don't like that pick 'em pool, put your points that you scored this week so far into the chat. I want to know what you guys scored. So good job, Corn Dog. Be well, dude.
Later.
Corn Dog kicking us off. The Clutch. Where is he at? He put it up. Good job by you. Yes, Fox, Western Conference Player of the Week. Not a huge surprise there. I thought the record might hurt them with the loss to Minnesota. It did not. How do you not give it back to him? Great stuff. Incredible stuff for De'Aaron. He is floating. Let's see. De'Aaron Fox about to take Trae Young for 40 plus. By the way, the Clutch Bros, if you guys don't know, they run a show live during the Kings games. Forgive me right now because I don't remember the platform name, but you can watch the game and have a group chat. They're on there on camera. Go check them out. They do good work during the games, but always come back to us at halftime, post game, pre-game, all that. Chat is rowdy today and popping. I love it. Yeah, Corn Dog, that's funny. Need to pre-tape Corn Dog. I agree with that, actually. What's up, Mr. Finch? Alfred, and I saw John put this, or BJ put this. What's up, Beach? You gonna talk about them Trump 2024 dancers? I mean, I really don't care about it. Now, I do care if the NFL steps in and bans that. I think that's a little bit of hypocrisy. I don't know. I think you're being a hypocrite if you step in and start saying you can't do a dance, especially when it's not like it's mainstream that's Trump's dance. That's targeted to the social media audience. That's targeted to the younger audience. I don't know. I mean, this is not a political show, but the NFL already does so much, right? To have social initiatives. The NBA, they had no games on election night, so you could get out and vote. NFL reminded you to go get out and vote. So I have a problem with it if they ban it. I really do. And that's not saying I'm Trump, dude, so don't take it there. I just have a problem with it. Just like I would say the same if they banned another politician's dance. Now, if we're talking about somebody that has done awful. Okay, yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. If it's something that is, if somebody was doing an OJ Simpson dance, okay, that had to do with anything around this region of the body, that's a problem. You ban it. A shuffle? Come on, man. Cheers indeed. Yeah, a lot of people thinking it's going to be a 40 burger tonight for Foxy. Here, let's talk about Fox really quick, because this is the most impressive thing to me for Fox. So we all know about Fox's 60-point performance against Minnesota. This was his shot chart, y'all. That was Foxy's shot chart. I have created what I like to call the Fox formula. The Kings and De'Aaron Fox. You see the best versions out of both of them when De'Aaron's three-point attempts are in the same neighborhood as his assist. Though that is the shot chart. Look at, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I believe 8, because I'm kind of counting on the fly and looking at a couple things. Shots from beyond the arc, and he scored 60 damn points. What did he go do against Utah? Look at what he does against Utah. It's the exact damn same thing. 4 shots from beyond the arc. That is a beautiful, beautiful shot chart. And I get the counter argument that, okay, well, the floor is a little bit more spaced because there's no DeRozan, there's no Domas. I don't care about the spacing. Fox can get into that region, the painted region, inside the arc anytime he wants. This was De'Aaron after his latest big game.
109 feels like it's so far from 110. It's crazy. But I mean, like I said, man, it's just being able to get downhill and touching the paint, I feel like has worked wonders. And whenever you're able to do that, you're able to get one to the rim. You're able to, 1, get to the rim, 2, get to the free throw line, and 3, you're able to still create for teammates. So, like I said before, man, just trying to have a point of emphasis on that. I mean, I didn't even shoot a 3 in the second half, and just being able to touch the paint.
You just tweeted out.
Bingo. You don't need to shoot the 3 if you're De'Aaron. To me, and I'm not completely putting it on De'Aaron. In fact, I go the other way. I kind of put it on Coach Brown, because him in the media, and if he's doing it in the media, he's definitely doing it with the team, saying, if you got to look, let it fly, let it fly, let it fly. Not with De'Aaron Fox. I'm sorry. I get that he's a decent three-point shooter. I get that percentage is pretty darn good over his career, especially the last 2 years. But I don't care if that percentage was 77%. There is nothing more valuable to this team than De'Aaron Fox getting to the paint. What you get from him getting inside the paint is far, far more valuable than the extra point that you get from beyond the arc when he shoots a 3. You get to the foul line, which then not only gets you 2 free throws, allows you to get a quick little break. It allows you to set your defense on the other end. In fact, the Utah Jazz shot 14 free throws in the third quarter of the game on Saturday night. The Kings did not have a single free throw until the 158 mark. They ended up shooting 7 in the period, but that was the period that damn near brought the train off the tracks for the Kings. The offense stalled. The flow stalled. The energy came to a complete halt because Utah was able to set their defense every single time, it felt like, on their way back to the other side of the floor. So what De'Aaron's doing is nothing that he can't do every single night. And I'm not saying point production wise. I am saying style of play. And guess what opens up for you when you play that style for De'Aaron? It is the 3 ball. That opens up even more. So, an incredible performance, an incredible personification of what an all NBA version of De'Aaron Fox looks like. That is when I think of all NBA, when I think of superstar, that is exactly what I think of. And that is what De'Aaron Fox has been really this last week. The way he played in Phoenix as well. It has been an incredible week for him, and I hope it continues. The team needs him. Maybe this is a good thing. This is a silver lining, and we'll talk about some of the other guys that ended up getting some minutes. If you watched the pregame show on Saturday night, I said you're probably going to see Mason Jones before you see Keon Ellis. You did. Mike Brown went deep into his bench. In fact, 11 in the first half. We got our first look at Orlando Robinson on Friday night. There was a lot of questions about Orlando. I said, hey, he's in Stockton. They sent him down to get some run in. These G League guys, some of these two-way guys, even Colby Jones, who played yesterday in LA against the South Bay Lakers, they're balling out in the G League. They're playing very good basketball. I'm going to talk about them more later, but Orlando Robinson brought a spark to this team the other night, and he showed flashes of actual athleticism at the center position, something completely different than this team has had in the last, and don't tell me, do not start and tell me that JaVale McGee is athletic. No, JaVale McGee can jump. That is about it. He can jump and he is long. Dude has 2 left feet. That's why he was the MVP of Shaqtin' a Fool for how many years? 4, 5, 6 years. And I appreciate JaVale McGee. I appreciate his mindset. I appreciate what he brought mentally to the team. I appreciate what he did on the floor for the team during his time here in Sacramento. But Orlando Robinson's a little bit of a different cat. Dude can shoot it from beyond the 3-point line. Now, one thing that was extremely noticeable to not just me, and I'm sure all of you, was Orlando was out of place many times when the Kings went into sets. He was a little bit robotic. If you watched him go to set screens, and he was playing to get to spots. And that is no surprise whatsoever because dude has not played with the main roster. He sprained his MCL like 3 or 4 days into training camp. Mike Brown finally put him out there with the guys. Yes, Orlando was traveling with the team. He was doing shoot-arounds, but when you're on a road trip, you are not practicing. You're getting shots up, you're doing walkthroughs, you're getting treatment, and you're going through the game plan. That's it. It is not anything like a practice when you have a couple of off days, which the Kings will have after tonight. So the fact that Orlando played as well as he did, the energy, how about the grittiness? Dude's got a little bit of prick to him. And that's exactly what this team needs. How many times did we hear over the offseason, oh, this team needs a bulldog, right? This team just needs one of those guys that sets the tone. And Trey Lyles actually got pretty damn chippy against Utah, which I appreciated and enjoyed. But Orlando has that type of feel. Now, if he can stretch the floor even more and be able to shoot the 3 effectively, I like it. The team was not hesitant to go to him either in the post. Same goes for Isaac Jones. I thought Isaac Jones played some really good minutes in the win against Utah. And back to Stockton really quick, what a lot of you don't realize is Orlando played Friday in Stockton to Sacramento for his Sacramento NBA debut, and then on a plane to LA to play for the play against the South Bay Lakers for the Stockton Kings. Same thing with Isaac Jones. These dudes are grinding. Colby Jones, he made the trip to LA. Colby ended up having 25, and he made some very impressive and athletic plays in that game against the South Bay Lakers. Mason Jones, same thing. Mason got down there. The more run, the better for these guys. This is that piece of the pie that I always talk about that is called player development. Stockton has done an excellent job developing young guys, not for star roles in the NBA, but for the minutes that they might get if they need to step in a game in Sacramento. The moment is not too big. They stay ready. That was Keon's mindset all the time last year. That was Mason Jones's mindset. I talked to Mason numerous times, and that's what it was all about. It was the mental piece. Same thing with Kess. Anytime I would talk to him in Stockton, be like, dude, like, how are you doing this? How are you staying ready? How are you bouncing around? And mental piece. These guys stay ready. That's because they are being prepared the same way in both places. Going to Stockton prepares them better for Sacramento, and being in Sacramento makes them a bigger asset for Stockton. It's a beautiful process that Gabriel Harris has put together. That Stockton piece is humming. I can't give them enough credit. They are athletic. Don't forget about Boogie Ellis down there, who played a decent game yesterday. Telling you, this Stockton team is fun to watch. They are 3-1 on the season. I say it all the time. Get to Stockton. So a lot going on today. I don't want to neglect the chat. I appreciate all of you for being here. You can call the show as well. I know that's hard. Most of you are at work. You're doing other things. But definitely get involved with the show. Remember, we've got a lot more on De'Aaron Fox and the Kings coming up. I've got a ton of audio there. Also, we're going to be talking about the new segment that we're going to be debuting here on the show beginning Friday. And that is actually why I want you guys, if you are in the league, you guys and gals, if you are in our If You Don't Like That Pick'em League, do me a favor and put your record this weekend so far into the chat. I want to know what it is. Rhino, tell me about Boogie Ellis. I'll talk to you more about him here in a little bit. Kind of random, but anybody else think it's odd Bronny is only playing in home games? Dude should travel with the team and get more minutes. Bane, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the South Bay or the LA Lakers? Let me know. Dennis, Atlanta is 7th in the East. Kings are 8th in the West. Yeah, we've got the ESPN updated standings and analytics for the West. We'll throw those up as we go through the chat right now. There they are for you. You can see what everybody in playoff and play-in contention is doing right now. Dennis hopping back in. Yeah, I get you wide open, but tell Fox, come get your rock. I'll send a pic. What? Okay, I'm lost on you, Dennis. Kevin. All right, one time.
Acknowledge me.
One time, it is a sexy shot chart. I'm telling you, dude. No banning celebrations. Keep it short and go on with the game. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. When celebrations become like a short play with acts in between them and intermissions, it's too much. Get in, get out. In fact, the defenses that run like 90 yards to go huddle in front of that camera, that's starting to get a little old. That is starting to get a little played. Almost as old as Mike Tyson's butt cheeks on Netflix. And how about Netflix not being ready for the bandwidth? I mean, are you kidding me? Come on, Netflix. Alfred, okay, cool. I agree with you. NFL is getting too woke. Yes, it is getting woke. And look, I'm not politics guy. I'm not, I rarely go into that. You probably get a little bit more of that from Grant than you get from me, but I'm done with that stuff. I don't want to see it. Can't stand it. Just play the damn game. What is the NFL going to find players or going to tell teams not to do the Trump? That's the thing. Okay. That's the slippery slope, right? Like, because there's no, and let me play for those that don't know what I did in a previous life. I was in the legal realm, okay, before I followed my dream and started doing this. But how can you definitively connect that dance to Trump? How can you? That's the first question I'm going to ask if I am the NFLPA and one of their attorneys. Well, are there other dances similar to that? How do you not know that they're doing that influencer's dance? How do you know they're not doing the dance from this movie? Okay. Well, then the next thing is, oh, guess what? That, backflip that person just did. Well, there was a politician that did a backflip. And so here you go, NFL. You got to ban the backflip too. Well, no, we can't ban it because you banned the Trump dance. You see where it just goes off the damn rails? The NFL, stay in your fucking lane. Like, stay in your lane. The fact we talked about it on the show last week with them retroactively fining Nick Bosa for wearing the hat. Stupidest decision the NFL could have done. Stupid, stupid, stupid. But I guess it continues. If you're talking about blaming a dance or banning a dance, I'm done with it. Done with it. Don't want to be seeing it anymore. Derek, what's up, my man? Welcome in. Fox driving and having a bunch of shooters around him without DeMar/Sabonis is interesting to watch. Now, okay, here's the interesting part of that. This is the interesting piece. Y'all remember the people before the season, the quote unquote unnamed GMs, the pundits, the talking heads that said DeMar DeRozan will not work in Sacramento? Well, now we have another round of it. If you haven't heard, there's a lot of people speculating, asking the question. See, De'Aaron, 60 without DeMar, 49 without DeMar and Sabonis. DeMar's holding Fox back. DeMar's holding the offense back. See, we told you. Stop. Just stop. You realize that the difference between De'Aaron Fox in the last two games was the decision not to settle for the three-pointer. That was a decision. There is nothing DeMar DeRozan is doing to keep Fox from driving to the lane. Nothing whatsoever. And as for your role players, as for your Keegan Murrays, let's kick this around really quick while we have a few minutes. I have put together a little chart for everybody. We had somebody call in, Zach, who calls all the time. I hope I put this in here. Let me make sure. I don't think I put it in. So hold on. Let me add this in. So we have a caller. His name's Derek. Calls in from time to time. As of late, he's been getting a little bit more animated with his takes. He's been putting his opinions along with his name in the space when you come on the show and call. Well, anyways, he went to the lengths to look up in the last 15 years how many guys have been failures and busts after they had an excellent rookie year. So he called the show with it the other day, and he's like, yo, what about Tyreek Evans? What about this person? What about that person? And I did the math, and I'm like, my man, that is 3 players out of 6,750 during the 15-year time that you are talking about. And I guess for me, as I get this up here right now, sorry for not being prepared with it. For me, as I look at what Keegan Murray has done over the last 3 years, the start of his career, compared to De'Aaron's first 3 seasons, let's look at games played. Games played, right? And really, the top one, 14. It's kind of hard because Keegan's only in the start of his 3rd year. I could have just gone first 2 years, but you get my point. So let's look at the first 2 years then. 73 games for Fox year 1, 80 for Keegan year 1, 81 For Foxy, year two, pretty good. Keegan, 77. He dealt with that finger injury. But what I want you to notice is the uptick. The uptick in what Keegan is doing across the board. Some might argue, and I didn't go full stat share here, I'll do it on another show. Some could argue that Keegan's growth through his first 2 years was better than De'Aaron's. But yet a lot of these Sacramento Kings fans, like Zach, who say trade Keegan, get him out of here, he's trash. I forget what his little name was, something about put him in the swamp. I don't know. What they're failing to look at is the bigger picture of what things look like if you do not have Keegan Murray. First off, do you realize that teams are guarding Keegan Murray completely different than they guarded him his rookie year? His rookie year, he was strictly a catch and shoot player. Coach Brown talked about this a little bit the other night. Here's what he had to say.
He's hitting his prime.
Oh, that's about to
Yeah.
Sorry about that. This should be about Keegan.
When you have a guy that can score at 3 levels, it's the best of all
Nope,
worlds.
that's Fox. This should be Keegan. I got to work on getting these cuts right, y'all.
He's a very, very good shooter. The one thing that everybody has to remember, his rookie year, he was strictly a catch and shoot guy. So he didn't have to think much. And then on top of that, we didn't always put him on the best perimeter player. Now he's got Markin. He's got Book. He's got somebody of that caliber every single night. And then we're asking him to rebound. We're asking him to run the floor. There's a lot we're asking him to do. On top of that, he's growing. He's growing his game. And so no longer is he just going to sit in the corner and wait and catch and shoot from the three-point line. He's going to take some other shots. And to a certain degree, we have to live with it some while he continues to grow and get his legs and his mind and everything underneath him.
Mike, you mentioned.
And that's the thing. This coaching staff has asked Keegan to do different things. And I've said that a couple times already today. But Keegan's player development in the offseason was completely targeted at shot creation. And it wasn't just shot creation, it was creating space. So a lot of the workouts that Keegan did throughout the offseason were about creating that room so he can get his shot off comfortably at the spot that he wants to get to. I was told he was working really hard at the elbows in the offseason. And if you've watched him play this season, maybe you might even see it tonight. He's trying to get many times to that elbow position, and he really likes a one-footed fadeaway. That's a shot that he feels like he has in his bag from those two spots. And we've seen that shot go in a couple of times. So to me, the struggle for Keegan, you can talk about the missed threes. He needs to be better. But those threes are different threes than he was getting rookie year. So that's going to be a continuation. That's going to be a progression in his game. Because remember, is this thing still on? Dude is 14 games into his 3rd season in the NBA. 14 games. I feel like many Kings fans are judging this guy like he's played in 4 All-Star games. He hasn't. Are the expectations too high in the fan base for Keegan Murray? Name me the last rookie that's not named Tyrese Halliburton that has come out and had a better 3 years, 2 years, and 14 games in a Sacramento jersey than Keegan Murray. Who was the last one in the last 10 years? Good luck finding a name. Good luck. So the onus for me is on the coaching staff. The coaching staff has put together plans, plays, structure to get Kevin Huerter involved. The coaching staff has done the same at times for DeMar DeRozan to get him to his spots. You know who they haven't done it for? Keegan Murray. The coaching staff, especially in games like tonight, where you are going to be undermanned and without two, maybe two, definitely two, maybe three of your big four, you need to help that young man grow. Don't just roll the ball out there and say, make a few plays, because as I said before the Jazz game, you have one creator on this roster right now, and that is De'Aaron Fox. Everybody else on this roster is a finisher, not a creator that isn't hurt, I should say. Malik Monk, creator. DeMar DeRozan, creator. And obviously they finish too. But the coaching staff needs to put more structure in to get Keegan open, get Keegan going. Not going to talk about the rhythm and the flow. I've made that point so many times over the last couple weeks. And look at how much different this team is playing when the ball moves more. With Fox, it wasn't always on Fox. Monk is a big culprit of this too as well, especially into the second halves of games. But when you make the extra pass, when you go to the hoop, it opens things up for everybody else. Other people touch the ball more. And look at Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles is now playing pretty well. Trey Lyles probably had his best game in the last season in 14 games last night or 2 nights ago against the Jazz. So you got to do the same thing for Keegan Murray. And you've got to look at the big picture, in my opinion, when it comes to the young man. I mean, dude is taking the most difficult player on the other team on a nightly basis. You do not beat the Phoenix Suns the other night without the defense that Keegan Murray played on Devin Booker. You don't. What about the offensive rebounds? I can personally tell you, I know the coaches are tracking the crash zones and who is crashing the most. There is not a player on that roster, and I've heard this from multiple people inside the building, either on or around the coaching staff, that have not said or have basically said, how do I put this? I want to paraphrase it because I'm not quoting anybody. You ask Keegan to do something, and he does it. He is the most coachable person on that team. Keegan is leading this team in the crash zone areas. He is the one that is mostly creating tips that lead to offensive rebounds. His crash zone percentage is the highest out of all of the Sacramento Kings. Now, Trey Lyles is getting a hell of a lot better. He's been more athletic with it. He has been more active with it. But Keegan's the dude. When the coaches ask for something, there is never a question of whether Keegan is going to be in the right spot or in the wrong spot. He's always there. So look past the three. We got to look past the three a little bit more with him. Damn, this show's flying by. We only got about 40 minutes left. MC, I appreciate you, brother. I hope you're well. Always appreciate when MC comes in. And yeah, I'll say it for you. Give us a thumbs up if you don't mind. We would appreciate it. Don't forget, this is the first of 5 shows tonight here on the channel. Later this afternoon, Napes will be back 4 o'clock. Open forum. Taking your questions, calls, getting us ready for Monday Night Football, getting ready for the Kings and the Hawks tonight. And then pregame, 6:15, halftime, intermission, Jerry Reynolds. And then postgame, we are right back here all night long, 5 shows for you, including this one. Hopefully you are subscribed and you join us later tonight. It is going to be a fun night. Hopefully the Kings can get this win. It'd be nice to go into a little break with the win in their belts and let those guys get healthy. So again, the big question tonight is what's going to happen with the Kings and the depth. How are they going to play Atlanta? Because Atlanta is a much different matchup, much different than the Utah Jazz. So I think there is a route with what you're going to do with your rotation if you're Coach Brown, but it's going to include buffet style. You're going to be doing a lot of what you did against Utah with that rotation. No DeMar DeRozan in this one. Sabonis is a game time decision. What I'm hearing is it's not very optimistic. ESPN has it as a game time decision, so I will officially go off that. But I'm hearing that it's probably unlikely that he's going to play. If you're hearing different, put it in the chat. I would appreciate seeing that. Also, despite whether those guys play tonight or whether it is the same unit the Kings roll out, Bennett's will still be here for you. Go check them out today if you want. Happy hour, 2 to 6 o'clock. Their sips and tastes. 3 locations in the greater Sacramento area. The West Side Grill's their newest in Rockland and the Blue Oaks Town Center. I love the West Side Grill. It is beautiful. Did you make it out for brunch? You got to go try their weekend brunch. It is one of our family's favorite things to go do at Bennett's. Not a brunch person? Not a problem. They also have prime cuts of seafood and steak. They've got great specials throughout the week besides happy hour tonight. Monday night, wine and dine, 2 entrees and a bottle of wine, $70. Hell, if they threw in the Uber ride too, you are set. Look at that. But also, weekend prime rib, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And do yourself a favor, go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com if you are thinking about not cooking this Thanksgiving. If you're thinking about dining out on Thanksgiving Day, they will be open and they are taking pre-orders for hot and ready family Thanksgiving meals for you to bring home, kick your feet up, watch football, and let Bennett's do all the work for you. Those go quick. So like I said, get to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. When you go in, let them know that you heard about them right here on If You Don't Like That. Huge thanks to Brian, Margot, the entire team, the servers, the waiters, the bussers, the bartenders, the hostesses. They are all so great. The service there is excellent. We appreciate each and one of them and all of them sponsoring today's episode of the King's Court. All right, we've got about 35 minutes left in the show. I've been teasing this new segment that we're going to do. So I have not seen too many records put in here. If you are in our league, let me know what your record was this week in the Fantasy Football Pick'em League. Mark, one guy can't carry a team for a whole year. Need those pieces like DeMar, who is almost automatic from 15 feet and in. Certainly. But one guy out of the 3 that you have, maybe 4 if you include Malik in that conversation, it's good to know that they can carry you through a hard time. It's not like it's a secret what De'Aaron Fox is going to do. But he's still, these last 2 games, it's been the most impressive feat that I have seen by a Sacramento King in my lifetime. In fact, Jerry Reynolds said the exact same thing on the halftime show on Saturday night. Incredible stuff by De'Aaron. I'm so happy for him too. I'm so happy because De'Aaron takes so much. And look, I'll be honest, I have probably been a little harder on De'Aaron than most. And it's not because of his skill set. It was because of his decision making. I was hard on him for the 3 ball last year. I thought it was way too much. And I get the Kings played from behind a lot. And so you had to make up points. And the 3's the way to do that in most games. But I'm hard on the people, and it's cliche, that you have the highest hopes for, that you know there's a better version of. And this version that we saw of De'Aaron the last 2 nights, again, if you didn't see the shot charts that I put up, it is a drastic difference from last year, even from earlier this season. This is what De'Aaron did in his 60-point game against Minnesota. Wish it would have been a win. It wasn't, but that's what he did against Minnesota. That is balanced. Here's what he did against Utah, 49 points. Even better, 49 points without shooting a ton of threes. That's not the De'Aaron that we had been talking about before. That is the balanced De'Aaron Fox that can be an all-NBA guy. Period. End of story. This is his stat line against Utah. 16 of 30 from the field, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc, 14 of 19 from the free throw line. 4 turnovers, fine with it because of the burn rate. 9 assists. So again, my formula that I am calling it, the Fox formula, 3-point attempts should be in the same neighborhood as assists. If they are, the Kings are going to win more ball games than they lose. And De'Aaron Fox will be a big reason for that. All right. Busy weekend, by the way, in the NFL. Busy weekend. We'll get to Tyson and Paul to end the show, but I have teased this long enough. So, how did you do on your picks this weekend? We've got our If You Don't Like That NFL pool, which is a lot of fun. If you don't participate in it, we would love to have you in it. It's a little bit late to probably win the prizes, but you could still make your picks and see how you do mid-season against everybody else in the league. Peter is our reigning champion in the league, so much respect to him. And the winner this season gets 2 $100 gift cards. One donated by Jay Griffiths. So Jay and Kathy, thank you so much for that. And another anonymous donation to the league. Not going to say who it was from, but also $100 to a very popular and actually our family's favorite coffee place here in Sacramento. That's what the winner gets. So, I'm having a marginal season. I've had a couple of weeks that have been pretty good, right? Where I have led the league in picks. I think I had like 13 points one week, and then the other week I had 11 or 12. But, I was sitting 30th coming into this weekend, and I'm like, I got to shake something up. At first I started going with my gut. That's how I had those 2 good weeks. And I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to look at the spreads anymore. I'm just going to go with my gut. Because you're not supposed to go against your gut, right? And so then I was like, well, we're partway through the season. Let's have some fun with it. What could I do to have some fun with it? And by the way, let me run down the standings really quick to give some love to those that are at the top of the league right now. Maximus. And by the way, just so you know, if you are picking anywhere in the realm between 49 and 50, 60%, you're doing really well. The Vegas insiders that you buy your picks from, they're usually in the range of 64 to 69%. 69 is a little bit high against the spread. So Maximus 209 is leading the league right now, 97 and 66. They are picking 60% on the season. Then we have Latvia, Steve's a fan, JJ's picks, Baba Yaga. All right, Baba Yaga. Picks are usually lame. Paul, light it up. Pretty good team. H Mong Kid, Ray Guys, Hot Punts, and Dr. J. There you go. So that is the top end of the league right now. So this weekend I decided, you know what? Wouldn't it be funny if I let my son make my picks for me? Like, why not? Like, he could probably, like, what would it be? It wouldn't hurt anything. It's only 1 week of the NFL season. And just to give you a little background, my son does not like sports. Not sports kid. He is Pokemon kid. He's into anime, that kind of stuff, right? So you know what? This is what we did at about 8:30 yesterday morning.
All right, Bubs, you're doing my picks. Packers or Bears?
Packers.
Jaguars or Lions?
Lions.
Vikings or Titans?
Vikings.
Raiders or Dolphins?
Raiders.
Rams or Patriots?
Rams.
Browns or Saints?
Saints.
Colts or Jets?
Jets.
Ravens or Steelers?
Steelers.
Falcons or Broncos?
Falcons.
Seahawks or Niners?
Niners.
Chiefs or Bills? That one hurt.
Bills.
Bengals or Chargers?
Chargers.
Texans or Cowboys?
Cowboys.
Yes, Johnny Finch. He went with the Cowboys tonight. You know what that kid did against the spread? He went 7-6 ATS against the spread. He doesn't even know the names of these teams off the top of his head. He went 7-6 against the spread. And so then I'm thinking, holy crap, man, 7-6 against the spread? That's impressive. Why the hell am I giving Haunted Horse a Friday segment around here? Giving us, yeah, I know he took the Niners, right, BJ? That one stung because he knows good and well about the Seahawks. And he took the damn Niners. So then I'm thinking, I'm not going to put my 10-year-old on my show. That would not be responsible. I don't want him around on the internet on an internet show this early in his life. But then I was conflicted. I'm like, dude, this kid's 7-6. But I've got Haunted Horse on here who's like talking about these parlays and, anytime Haunted gives us picks on games, it seems like they're wrong. And I could be wrong about that, actually, because I don't track his. But I know this, when I give my picks, especially upsets, they have been right more times than not. So I'm like, okay, well, how can we make this fun? How can we balance this out? So, ladies and gentlemen, going forward on Fridays, we are going to have horsing around with the NFL. Yes. Haunted Horse will be joining us on Fridays to give us his NFL picks for the week. Liam will not be joining us Friday, but we will have Liam's picks recorded and we will listen to them on Friday. And we are going to track who has a better record for the rest of the season. Horsing around, Horse versus Liam. Can Liam continue his hot start to the season? 7-6. So here's what we're going to do. Horse, this week will not count against you with Liam. That's not fair. Liam was just getting warmed up. But starting on Friday, we will have another round of audio picks from the man himself, my 10-year-old son, Liam. And we will have Haunted Horses picks, and we will track them for the rest of the season. Horsing around with the NFL. That is our new Friday segment. Can you believe the kid went 7-6? What if he hits on the Cowboys tonight and he goes 8-6? Like, are you kidding me? Again, this kid does not watch football. He couldn't name you 5 football teams. He could name you the Seahawks, right? He could name you the Seahawks. But this is what he
All right,
did
Bubs,
this
you're
week.
doing my picks. Packers or Bears?
Packers.
Jaguars or Lions?
Lions.
Vikings or Titans?
Vikings.
Raiders or Dolphins?
Raiders.
Rams or Patriots?
Rams.
Browns or Saints?
Saints.
Colts or Jets?
Jets.
Ravens or Steelers?
Steelers.
Falcons or Broncos?
Falcons.
Seahawks or Niners?
Niners.
Chiefs or Bills? That one hurt.
Bills.
Bengals or Chargers?
Soldiers.
Texans or Cowboys?
Cowboys.
So there it is. Welcome to the new NFL segment for the second half of the season, horsing around with the NFL. Yes, BJ, horse picks wives. He does indeed. He absolutely does. Liam getting some love on the channel. Liam Horse is around 17% for the year. Yeah. You know what, Haunted Horse? He goes, you know why I'm 17%? That's what he said. Y'all remember this. I think he said it on air. He's like, oh, well, I didn't know it was against the spread. And I filled out like 2 or 3 weeks in advance. Nice. I'll go with Liam. Yeah.
Acknowledge me.
Acknowledge that kid, man. Should I just start recording Liam's bets and just selling them? I mean, the Liam line, if you are chasing really hard, hit up my 10-year-old. He knows better. Haunted Horse tracks his points and recycling money. Right. Rack Liam. Yeah, I agree. You guys think Liam's going to dunk on a horse the rest of the season? We will see. We will see. It's going to be fun. So Thursday night, we will get Liam's. Well, actually, Wednesday night, I will record Liam's picks. He's got to have a pick for the Thursday game. So my portion, just so everybody's clear, my portion of the if you don't like that pool is being taken over by my 10-year-old son. So there we go. Liam is 7-6 on the week. Will he make it 8-6? Yeet. I agree. Absolutely agree. So good job, son. Good job. You have worked your way into a weekly segment on Dad's show. It was so nonchalant, too. This kid was just sitting there eating his waffles, having a piece of bacon, nice cold glass of milk. And he didn't even know what I was asking him. I'm like, hey, Liam, just give me a name from the 2 that I'm about to read you. I'm going to do it like 16 times. Just give me a name. And he just gave me a name, right? You guys heard it. He just rolled through it. I think you heard it on the recorded thing. When he said Niners, I was like, oh, that hurt. Like, come on, kid. Anyways, horsing around with the NFL. Horse versus Liam. Whose team are you taking? You got to get on one side. The pressure is on, Haunted Horse. If you want to keep your football segment here on the show for next season, you better beat Liam, my man. I bet you both of them beat Colin Cowherd. That's a given. But anyways, most definitely a facial on Horsey. No doubt. All right. Do you know what else was a facial? Anybody complaining about this? Come on. So, I'm here for a couple of things. I got a couple of things to talk about with the fight, Tyson, Jake Paul. So Netflix puts it on, okay? And they had some buffering issues, okay? Not to be unexpected. After all, 60 million people tuned into this thing. Jake Paul coming to the ring in over $1 million of diamonds. Not just coming to the ring in $1 million of diamonds, fighting with diamonds in and on his shorts, fighting with diamonds on his shoes. All I could think about was, damn it, I wish I worked at AT&T Stadium and I was part of the ring crew in taking down that ring. I would be on my hands and knees with my cell phone, literally looking for grains, pieces, anything of diamonds. You know, some of those diamonds came off. Like, come on, man. I look, I'm all for Jake Paul. I've given you my take on him. I think he is the only thing that's keeping boxing relevant and putting eyeballs on the sport, okay? But you know what? When you put yourselves on a platform that you knew was going to be that big, can you do us a favor next time? Just a couple of things, boxing, since you are still trying to be relevant. Can you do us a favor and actually give us some decent commentators? Rosie Perez? Jones Jr.? Cedric the Entertainer? You know what was worse than that? What's worse than that is the event started at 5 o'clock Pacific. And I thought, there's no way that by the time the post-game show starts, that this fight won't be long and done. Like, done. It will have been done for 45 minutes. Well, guess what? 8:45 rolls around. I'm sitting on my computer, tracking the Kings game. Got the fight on to my right. The co-main event's already over. What do they proceed to do? They proceed to stuff 30 to 40 minutes of straight up buffer into it and made this thing a 5-hour broadcast. WrestleMania thinks a 5-hour broadcast is long. You're not gaining any new boxing fans by dragging out this broadcast. I mean, painfully dragging out this broadcast to where you're showing the same stars multiple times in the crowd, where it's just, it was too much. Everything you would have wanted to give boxing the rub, the quote unquote rub, you did the opposite. Now, the fight itself, it was exactly what most people thought it was going to be. This fight was all about expectations. If you went into this fight with dreams of Mike Tyson looking like he's 18 again and moving around the ring like a butterfly, it wasn't going to happen. If you went into this fight with dreams of seeing Mike Tyson knocked out, it wasn't going to happen. Same thing with Jake Paul. If you bet money on this fight and you lost money on this fight, you are an idiot. And by the way, if you bet money on this fight, I run a WWE sports book. Email me. I'll give you the lines for the next WWE pay-per-view. How about that? Come to my business. Idiots. And you know who's almost as worse? The idiots that filled the internet by saying, I can't believe I paid for this fight. You didn't pay for shit. You pay for a Netflix subscription that your kids probably use, that your wife probably uses, that you use. This was a free fight. So if you fall into those categories and you're complaining, shut up. The problem was not the event. The problem was you. I mean, get real. Did you hear the crowd booing in the 8th round where Jake Paul took it easy on Tyson? And arguably Jake Paul took it easy on Tyson most of the fight. Who went in there wanting to see Mike Tyson at 58 years old get hurt? Not me. I said it on this show and I was like, I almost walked it back a little bit after I said elder abuse, but no, like we didn't want to see elder abuse. This was a spectacle. This was a fantasy booking. What was Jake Paul supposed to do? But people are booing not because of the respect Jake Paul showed to Mike Tyson. They were booing because of their bets. They had a knockout. They didn't have it going the length. And that's the new thing, apparently. I did watch the John Jones fight. Do you hear the UFC crowd at Madison Square Garden either booing or chanting and counting down to the 2:30 mark in the second round of fights, or the third round in fights if it's a championship fight, because of the bets? It's crazy. So I've just been perplexed by the reaction to all this, and it was what it was. You know, Jake Paul, whether you like him, whether you don't like him, it's good for boxing. There's no way it's bad for boxing. And if you're on that train that thought Logan Paul was a douche for, I'll like that'll happen, I'll knock you out or something. Whenever Tyson said he might want to fight him, guess what? That's promotion. Just like 1 + 1 = 2. Beef before a fight equals fight, which then equals love, because there was never any real beef, just like the WWE. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you watched it and you had realistic expectations and you were watching for the spectacle, but man, did they fumble that thing. Bad look, the announcers. I see your guys' comments about Rosie. I mean, why did you have Rosie on the panel? Because she's from the same area of New York as Mike? What? What are you at the dunk contest? Are you gonna have Woody Allen there? Like, I just didn't get some of it, and Netflix dragging it out. It was painful. It was incredibly painful to me. So, sucker born every minute. Mark, it was just silly, man. I'm just the reaction from the internet, the buffering. I get. I totally get that. And you know what this is, or what this was? This was as much about the fight as it was a test for Netflix to go back to the NFL and say, look, we just streamed to 60 million households and had no issues. Because obviously the NFL and Netflix, I should say, is trying to get in bed with the NFL. Now, you are not going to have anywhere near the amount of eyeballs on the Christmas Day game on Netflix that you had on this, but they were hoping, in my opinion, to say, we can handle your business, NFL. We could be part of it. But yeah, Jay hopping in, the John Jones fight was just as bad. Yeah, you're right. Stipe did not look great. Dude, that shot, though, to the ribs, that was brutal. That was a brutal shot. John Jones looked old, too. He did the Trump shimmy as well. Oh, by the way, I didn't bring this up at the top of the show. For those that did not hear, and I think this is great news, Inside the NBA is moving to ESPN next year. They have come to an agreement, and I believe as also part of this agreement, it's gonna basically dismiss the lawsuit that was ongoing between Turner and, or I should say Time Warner and the NBA, because of the miscommunication, the inability to match the offer, the ambiguity around some of the words in the previous contract. This seems like the middle ground. That lawsuit will probably go away, and it is a complete win for all of us that we are going to still get to have Inside the NBA beyond this year. That show is a gem. I love that show. I love the people on that show. I could not imagine an NBA without that show still around. Let's see. Well, let's recognize a girl fight before that, though. Yes, good point, Dennis. I did not pay attention to it, but I heard a lot of good things about the girl fight. And I shouldn't even say a girl. The women who fought, and I saw the gash on one of them. That was brutal. Shaq lost money on it. Well, Shaq's an idiot then. Period. End of story. He's an idiot. Rosie looks like a heavyweight. Damn, Mark. I wasn't going to go there. Diamonds are forever, indeed. To defend my 49ers buddy Horse, he hasn't made any picks for the last 9 weeks. That's right. He gave up. He gave up on our Pick'em League, so you don't have to pay attention to that. But going forward on Fridays, you're going to have to pay attention to this. We are horsing around with the NFL. Liam will be making his weekly picks. We will pre-record those, audio only, not bringing him on the show. Horse will make his picks on Friday. He'll talk some parlays, and we will see who has the better record at the end of the season. We will do it through the regular season. What do you guys think? Do you think we should do every game, or should we pick like 6 games that they have to choose from? And it's going to be against the spread. It's definitely ATS. So we are going to see how it goes. And by the way, this is not a Horse thing. It's funny that we're doing it with Horse. Horse is a good sport. He's a hell of an entertainer. He grinds his ass off. Go check out his content at HollywoodRejects.com. He grinds. I have the utmost respect for him. I have learned a ton from him. He has helped out this channel, not just this show, but Grant shows a ton. So this is all in good fun, and I appreciate him for being a part of it. But we are going to definitely have a good time. All the games, I was thinking the same. Why not do all the games? We got to do a fantasy league. Yo, Jay, we have a fantasy pick'em league. You should know that. I thought you were in it, Jay. Kind of gave up on the league. There you go. No, I don't have time to do a fantasy league. I don't mean that with any disrespect. I have one, which is with my really close group of friends, and I'm even bad about like staying up with everything on that. So if you had me in a fantasy league with any of you, I would be that guy that would probably like at the last minute do a drop because I didn't realize somebody had a bye week. Like, I don't want to bring your league down. But if you guys you guys and gals want to do a fantasy league, I'm more than happy to talk about it on the show. But y'all got to put it together. So you just let me know, and I will be around. And speaking of being around, we have got so much more planned for the day. Beginning in an hour, just over an hour and a half, Grant will be here. Do an open forum. Join him. A lot to talk about there. Grant was not a big fan of the fight. He had no interest in watching the fight, if you remember that from his show late last week. But he will be here 4 o'clock. A lot to talk about with the NFL. A ton to talk about. Also, Kings, Hawks. That coming up tonight. Speaking of Kings, Hawks, we've got full coverage, as we do every single game night, beginning with the pregame show, 6:15. We will dive much deeper into the Kings-Hawks matchup tonight, keys to the game, what the Hawks do well, what the Hawks don't do well. Updates on Domas. Remember, DeMar is out already for this one. I am not as worried about DeMar as I am worried about Domas. I anticipate Domas will not be available. ESPN has him listed as a game time decision. I'm hearing he's probably not going to play, but we'll see. That could change. Don't forget Jerry Reynolds with us at the half. Looking forward to that as well. And we wrap up the night with all of you and your phone calls right here on If You Don't Like That, with the flagship of the channel, the post-game show. So make sure that you join us. We would absolutely love to have you along for the ride tonight and participating in the show later tonight in any of the shows. We appreciate all of your support and participation. That's what makes this channel go. If you haven't already, do us a favor. Scan the QR code, subscribe to the channel. we're not going to be listening in on you. We're not going to send you emails. I'll just let you know when we are live, because we do a ton of content besides just our Kings content here on the channel. And if you don't already, follow me on the X at Ryan_in_Sacktown. That will also take you to the King's Court with Rhino podcast. Not just the audio from this show. You get exclusive shows over there, morning shoot-arounds where we break down information that I'm hearing, kind of a Kings Insider podcast, but for free, not charging you for it. So check it out. I think you will really enjoy it. And thank you to everybody. I feel like I only got to like a 10th of everything that happened this weekend, but I'm glad everybody had a very good and safe weekend. Can't wait again for tonight. The Kings take the hardwood against the Hawks. Please, no trap against Trae Young again. It is not needed. Expect the Kings to play a smorgasbord of players, and it worked out. I'm keeping my eye on Orlando Robinson again. I didn't hit Stockton as much as I wanted to, but those guys were playing well. Colby Jones, who's not been playing very good basketball here in Sacramento, and there's been a lot of disappointment around him this season. He went for 11 for 21 against the South Bay Lakers, 25 points there. Scal gave you 14. His half hook is looking so good right now. Isaac Jones pours in 22. You get 22 from Mason Jones. Boogie Ellis returns back to LA, pours in 12. I know he had a lot of interaction with the fans down there. That was really cool. Bronny played in that game. Bronny had a play or two that looked pretty darn good. Terry Taylor also gives you 11. Dexter Dennis 11. So yeah, the Stockton Kings 3-1 so far in the season, really clicking well. Get down to Stockton. Go check them out when they're at home. You will not be disappointed. Great job by Quentin Richardson, Gabe Harris, and the rest of the Stockton organization. So, all right, y'all, come back at 4 o'clock. Grant will be here taking your calls and talking whatever you want to talk. Have your questions ready for him. So I'm with you, Ryan. Who has time, right? We can win, but we shouldn't be the favorites. Yeah, the Kings are the favorites. I believe the last time I saw 6.5. Now it's 5.5. So yeah, it's a little bit steep. They were the favorites against Utah too. I think it was a bigger spread. But anyways, regardless, Grant's here at 4 o'clock. Make sure you join him. I appreciate all of you coming today. We will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Also, beginning next week, we are going back to the 2 o'clock time slot. It's where we're usually at. We've been doing one as of late, but through this week, we will be here at 1 o'clock tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. Make it a great one. Go Kings. Light the damn beam. We've got you covered all night tonight, beginning with Grant in just about an hour and a half. Light the damn beam. Court is, stay away from Levine too. Court is dismissed.